Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So interesting kind of a bit of news from Axie Infinity. So they have just announced they're increasing the breeding fees. So up to this point, if you were breeding an Axie, you were spending 2 AXS tokens, the governance token for Axie Infinity. That's currently, price-wise, 2 ASX is about $10. So we can see they're increasing that to about $20. Now, it's interesting that this is happening. So Axie Infinity is really growing very fast at the moment, as we can see from this Twitter post from Jehu's. The Axie population is growing by 40,000 a day, so they've just broken through 1 million Axies bred. Part of this is there's been a lot of kind of a pent-up demand because breeding was very expensive on the Ethereum blockchain. Now they've moved over to their own Ronin L2 scaling blockchain with obviously no gas fees. So people there's been no breeding for a long time. Now there's loads of breeding, and there's lots of interest in the game as well. So that encourages people to breed because obviously you can breed. You're breeding effectively to get rarer traits that make your Axies kind of more useful in battle. So we're seeing this kind of big kind of not necessarily bubble, big explosion in breeding. And what they're worried about, the people behind Axies, is they saw this sort of happening with crypto kitties, where you just have this kind of out of control breeding thing going on, and it sort of in the end becomes unsustainable. So if we aren't careful, the Axie population could overinflate and reduce the special feeling of owning an Axie while harming our economy. This is actually a big deal for blockchain game economies, that they sort of overheat themselves. I mean, it's not a great analogy to a real I'm going to say real economy, to a kind of a national economy where previously in kind of 30 years ago you might have inflation in the economy, and that causes lots of problems. So you do have this sort of situation where you do want Axies to be special. You do want people to be able to breed them, but you want the breeding to have a cost. So this is a temporary measure, and it's also interesting, this given a blockchain game with a governance token, where it looks like the people behind Axie, the developers, have just sort of decided to do this themselves. It's not been a vote or anything because they've not got those that governance system set up yet. Obviously, over time they would probably that would happen through the kind of community. What they're trying to say in the long term, there will be things that will kind of help in this situation. So there'll be mini lands and mini games. So Axies will have other value other than just the battling. So they're talking about the moment everyone's just trying to make the new meta for the battle. That's causing a lot of breeding. And also, there will be the ability, as I say, right now, in order to maintain kind of to progress the main path, people have more and more Axies. They expand their collection. Whereas in the long term, you can upgrade the Axies in the land. So once you've got an Axie, you can level it up by using the crafting materials that come from the land. And you may even sort of destroy Axies in order to get those. So that, as they say, creates a long-term sink to the Axie problem. So you're creating Axies by breeding, but then you might be destroying Axies to level up Axies. I mean, we know that in role-playing games, that the kind of you things like Splinterlands, you have to consume a certain number of cards to level your card up, and that consummation is higher the higher the levels are. So that's a good way of reducing NFTs as well. So we'll see. As they say, increasing the breeding fee is a temporary solution. Although it may last for a number of months, really, but it is interesting to see the sort of the success of Axies has resulted in them doubling the fee. We'll see what impact that has. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World, keeping an eye on what's going on, particularly Axies at the moment. So hope you subscribe to the channel. But thanks for watching, and see you again soon.